can you tell me first what you're feeling about being inducted and what it means to you?
Yeah, being inducted to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame is one of those moments where it just makes me stop and appreciate my journey. It really is something that I had a faint dream of as a kid, but it just makes me think of all the people that have poured into my life, my journey, to help me get to a place where I'm one of the best in my craft. It's just, again, I think just speaks to the team of people that have helped me.
When thinking about your overall journey as well, I know you mentioned that you really cherish the people that have gotten you to where you were throughout your career. Who are some of those that did inspire you? Just to name a few, I'm sure there are a lot.
Well, one of my earliest memories was the Houston Comets and watching Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, Jeanette Arcane, and Van Chancellor, and that whole team just, dominating the league and bringing so much excitement. Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, Teresa Weatherspoon. Gosh, I could name so many players. They were just so fun to watch, and I think a lot of us were watching them just intrigued because we had never really watched women's basketball players in that way, with that much promotion and that much access to their talent, to their game, their stories. And so just super fascinating to see women that looked like me playing. So that's where it started. And then I was blessed to have some great AAU teams. My high school coaches were really impactful. Obviously going to one of the best programs ever at the University of Connecticut with Gino and CD and all the coaches and teammates that helped shape me. And then I just got super blessed to go to the Minnesota Lynx and have all those vets and Cheryl Reeve and the assistant coaches and everybody in that community that just made a really special run for those 8 years that I was with the team, and just different trainers off the court that helped work with me and helped me improve my game when I had a minute in between seasons as a pro to just grow, and even down to AAU trainers that, coaches that just spent extra time with me, giving me drills and ideas and ways to add to my competitive fire to make me better. So literally so many people have their hands in my journey.
Yeah. And speaking of that journey, do you remember the first time that you picked up a basketball and knew that this was a game you were going to love?
I don't necessarily remember the first time I picked up a basketball, but I was young. I loved playing. I loved moving. I was one of those kids that just had to be doing something. And so my mom helped me channel that energy into organized sports or just playing outside. I was part of the generation that still played outside. Get home before the street lights come on. But I do remember when I was about 8 years old, I had another practice to get to, but I was outside shooting on my hoop and just having fun. And I remember telling my mom, I don't want to go to that practice. I want to stay here and play basketball. And it kind of clicked, I think, for the first time. All right, honey, if you don't want to do this, if basketball is your favorite, we're just going to, focus more on basketball. And I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I love that. And when you're thinking also about your journey, you've, of course, seen how women's basketball has evolved from then to, of course, now. It's being watched more than ever. We're hearing more names of female athletes that are being put in the spotlight. How would you define the evolvement, and what do you appreciate about it?
As the game has evolved and changed, I think it's in line with kind of our culture, which has been more fast-paced, more access, more 24-hour-ness of it, which I don't necessarily love, because at the end of the day, we are humans who do need rest and a little bit of a rhythm of that work-rest balance, rather. But I do love the access in that it's highlighting the stories. I think one of the ways the women's game has grown so much is because smart people who have been in positions of power to elevate the game have focused on the story of the athletes, which are amazing. Like, there's so many amazing people, so many amazing women who are in this craft. And so I think when you highlight the person as well as appreciating their talent, it just creates a really attractive draw to want to watch them compete and play. And then the fan base gets really proud and invested as well. So I think just that combination of just focusing on the storytelling, giving the eyeballs, promoting the players in the game, and creating that connection with the fans is what makes our game special.
For sure. You have just inspired so many people, whether they are athletes or not. And one of those being, of course, Caitlin Clark. We saw your interaction with her and her just fanning over you and so excited to meet you. But when thinking about young girls, whether they're at Caitlin Clark's level or younger, what would your advice be to them if they're hoping to grow up and be someone like Maya Moore?
Yeah. For the younger ones that were looking up to me the same way I was looking up to players when I was growing up, I would say I would hope you would imitate, more than anything, the kind of person that I strive to be. You can't control talent. You have the gifts that you have, but it's up to you of how you cultivate those gifts. And so embrace your gifts, I'd say. You don't have to have the exact same gift as the person next to you, but really take the time to reflect on what gifts do I have? And then how can I grow those gifts? How can I connect with other people who are trying to grow their gifts and use that momentum? I got on great teams if I could help it. You know, I put myself around people who are also trying to cultivate the gifts for the betterment of the team, for the betterment of our community. And so that's what I would say. Take that same spirit and put it into whatever gifts you have within a great team of whatever community you're a part of, and try to find the joy, have fun, and just be present in every moment.
Well, I have to say, when preparing for this interview, I didn't have to Google your name because I already know everything there is to know about you. Everyone in this room knows that I'm a huge fan. But I went ahead and did it anyway, and I wanted to know if you knew that when you Google your name, the first thing that comes up before saying a basketball player is a social justice advocate. What does that mean to you, and how do you feel using your platform is an important way to do so, as we have seen you do?
I actually haven't sat around and Googled my name recently, so that is actually very interesting and warms my heart to know that the things that I've tried to do in the justice space, connected to our story with my now husband, Jonathan Irons, and trying to shine a light on a vulnerable segment of our population, just makes me feel so much more proud and purposeful for my basketball journey. You know, basketball has been an amazing experience, ups and downs, challenges, triumphs. But when we can use all those things, you know, it's a game, right? It's a game we created, and we enjoy it. But I think that the depth of the joy comes from when you can take those things from the game and apply it to our greater lives, right? And to see it spread into more than just the court. And so I'm so grateful that my legacy and my efforts have been able to hopefully inspire people to make sure we're keeping our perspective on what matters most, which is each other.
Well said. Something else that I know is important to you is your faith. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you implement that now off the court, but even when you were playing, how did you kind of keep that within and utilize it throughout your life?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, I feel like my journey is everyone's journey. It's the human experience. You know, we grow up and we experience life, and we ask ourselves, like, what is this life about? What does it mean to be human? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Some of these big human questions that we all face and wrestle, and I've had my own experiences with God and with people who have tried to model the heart of Christ for me. And, you know, I've grown, I've had my ideas change, I've seen different things, I've really tried to make my journey authentic. I think more than anything, when it comes to my faith, I want it to be real. I want to be real. And so I never felt like my faith was a performative thing. It was, I'm honestly trying to be a type of person that shows love and consistently, like no matter who you are, my faith is is so much centered around how I treat people in all my relationships. It's not necessarily, I feel like I have the best understanding of every part of doctrine there is. It's like, no, at the end of the day, am I loving this person the best way I can, and trusting that God's going to show me how to do that in every season of my life. So whether it was how I interacted with my coaches, or a referee I was mad at, or a teammate that I was having miscommunication with, or just being tired but still taking the effort to try to interact with a fan or a little kid in a loving way, or stepping away from the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's a broad way that my faith applies to my journey, and what I feel like I need to do to be as faithful and as human as I can be.
For sure. And speaking of being real and authentic, while doing that Google search, I came across your, well, now X, formerly Twitter, bio, and you mentioned
Right.
being a drummer and a lover of red velvet cake. I want to know first, how did you get into drums, and how much do you love red velvet cake?
Oh, the big questions of life. Cake or drums? Where should I start? No, drums, like, music has always been a big part of my life. Just kind of behind the scenes, I grew up in a musical family, learned to play drums when I was 10 years old, and it just stuck. It was kind of like basketball. I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my body, with my efforts, because drumming, kind of like basketball, you're doing multiple things at once. And it just fit my personality. So always singing, always just have music in my head and kind of in my body. So music is very healing for me, whether in triumph or struggle. And red velvet cake, I have a dynamic relationship with red velvet cake. I love hate, because now that I'm not 18, those calories stick around a little longer. So me and red velvet have had to slow it down.
Gotcha.
But every now and again, like on a weekend like now, I might eat some.
Okay, I'll bring you some on Saturday, and we can celebrate
no.
this together. It'll be a small piece.
Okay. Mini.
Cool. Oh man, well, you know, we just watched, well, so many millions of people watched the WNBA Draft for this year. What were your thoughts watching that draft and looking forward with what the WNBA can be?
I think first and foremost, I'm so proud of those women. They look ready, right? They look prepared. They look like they have been intentional about their growth in their high school and college experience. The gratitude that I saw from them, and just, I think them really appreciating the moment. Like, you didn't see, oh, look at those arrogant young kids. Like, they just looked appreciative and ready. So I was happy to see that. And again, how Holly does such a good job of humanizing each player and making their story, their personal story, seen for people to appreciate. I loved that. And I also just was like, hang in there, y'all. It's gonna be a big transition, but you're gonna make it. Just take it all in stride and listen to your vets, because it is a transition. But I'm excited for the resources that they have now, and hopefully the mindset to just continue to take care of themselves and be well, take care of their mental health, and enjoy it. Don't take yourself too seriously, and just enjoy the struggle of the first year, the highs and the lows, right, of the first year and beyond.
Yes. And for you, you know, you've played at the highest level, you've won awards, you've written a book. What is next for Maya Moore Irons?
That's a good question. What's next for Maya is highly dependent on my 2-year-old, JJ, and what he's going to be doing. He is a handful. 2 is very different than 1. He is on the move, and he is not light. He eats very well and is active, and his words are exploding. So I think first just enjoying being wife and mom. With my guy, Jonathan, my husband, just trying to build a life together in our home in Atlanta, and our family rhythms, and just all the things that, you know, new marriage brings that you got to focus on, and enjoying raising up our little guy and being there for my family, and just continuing to spread the word about our story, be locked in with our community, and try to just authentically keep living the things that we wrote about in our book, while at the same time popping in and out of the women's basketball space and family in any way I can connect. And that's kind of the rhythm we have going on right now.